what role does EEAT play when it comes to AI-driven search?
Well, I think what is important to understand is that the EEAT measures are a function of AI. So basically what Google does is they use vector embeddings to represent websites, to represent authors, to represent subjects, entities, the whole thing. And so they're able to associate, information on the entity level, or excuse me, the embedding level that represent everything that we're talking about in the EEAT thing. And so, initially I was just like, what is this? Like, how do they even measure this? Like, I don't think this is real. But after doing a lot of research on this, it is actually real. Like, their ability to recognize authors across the web and associate information with them is really good now. And so it's not something that we can just like act like it's just like some marketing speak. It's definitely something they're actually doing. But I think the way that we action it in SEO is kind of a joke. It's like, oh yeah, you do your author bio, make your author page. Like, those things help, but that's not what it is. It's a lot more than that. And I think from a perspective of like what the tactics need to be, it still goes back to the bigger picture stuff that we're talking about. Like, is this a good website? Is it optimized? Does this website talk about this subject matter significantly, or is it just like one random page on this subject without an author associated with it? And so I think that Google is using this as a mechanism to like understand the difference between the bad and the good stuff. And it's also something that's used in context to determine whether or not generated content is valuable, because there is no reliable way to detect that in isolation. But when you combine it with these other signals, you do get a clear signal of, is this actual valuable content? And then also when you combine that with like the nav boost signals that indicate like, okay, a user came to, or users in general are coming to the site and they're landing on these pages and they think they're valuable because they're staying here and they're consuming it and they're not going back to search and searching for the same thing again. So all this stuff is used in context with each other. It's not just like, okay, do you have an author bio and are you saying how often stuff is being updated? Google is looking at this in a more big picture way.
Yes, and I think if there's one thing that I learned about EAT, it's a term that I really struggle with because I think it conveys a very wrong picture. But if there's one thing that I learned about that I think is very transferable to optimizing for LLMs and AIO in general, is that experts will write content very differently. So somebody who truly understands the subject matter or a subject for the matter it uses different wording and a certain way to explain and a certain way to focus on specific subtopics, which is very, very difficult to recreate for a quote unquote marketing writer who just does half an hour research or looks at the top results. So there's something to be said about who creates the content, but not just because there's an author bio, but more so because they write in a certain way and they understand the topic in a certain way. And I think part of why it's important for Google as a concept is because people want it, right? People want to read, especially in high stakes topics like finance stuff, medical stuff. They want answers from a freaking expert and not from somebody who just synthesizes the top 3 search results. And I think that's also kind of somewhat transferable for AI overviews, right? Google obviously will try to reflect that in their answers. And so if you have a chance to leverage expertise, get the content reviewed or ideally written by experts, that might also increase your chances of then being cited in an AI overview.
I would just add in the last minute, the sites that I see most concerned about EAT are the ones that actually are not EAT. So I think regular sites that are authorities that they don't need to fake authority, they are usually fine with EAT, and it's how they present the content. It's the sites that really have no authority, they have no expertise, they don't really deserve to rank, and they're trying to force themselves in at the margins that are trying to fake EAT. So I don't know that EAT is a huge signal. It's like if you have all those other things, if you're actually an authority, maybe just making sure that you present it will help you at the margins. But generally, the sites, like I think Google does a decent job of not having a lot of spam in the index. Obviously, there's great examples, but for the most part, they recognize that authority from all the other signals, they don't need a little bit of EAT and manufactured EAT to like then fall for and say, oh, this is not a spam site. And I think that's where affiliate sites really get screwed, and Google continues to push them out, is because they don't have any EAT. They're not an authority. They don't belong there. And Google's recognizing it more and more. So if they figure out how to fake it, I don't think it's a long-lasting effort.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I have actually seen like some prop already. Like I think there was a case study someone published, even though it didn't have like a lot of data, but it was mainly affiliate websites and websites which were not bringing any value, like rather aggregators, which were losing, and for the right reasons.